The best thing about going to my wife's office party was that I got a chance to drive my Challenger with the pedal to the metal. The worst part was that the faster I drove, the quicker I'd get there. The gathering was at the company lodge, and there was a nice 20-mile stretch of road leading up to it. No stop signs, no traffic lights, and no traffic. Just open road waiting for the Dodge to do its thing. That also meant no gas stations and no convenience stores. Donna and I had been drifting apart ever since our daughters both got married. I was hoping for just the opposite, but it was not to be. Donna insisted that I accompany her to this function, even though I had indicated that I did not want to go. Previously she had gone by herself. Donna was a drinker and I wasn't. I did have a beer occasionally. She was also a social butterfly and I wasn't. For the last year I suspected that she was having an affair. At this point I didn't care. I guess that was part of the reason we were drifting apart. I was biding my time, just looking for a way out of an unpleasant relationship. I needed a way to end the affair. I have to admit that I'm probably the reason my wife decided to seek greener pastures. I am, so to speak, a weird type of minimalist. I grew up in a very poor family. My brothers and I had far less than most kids our age, things like bicycles, toys, pets, fancy electronic gadgets, and stuff like that. It was almost like being Amish without the religion. I wasn't stupid and I fully understood the way the normal world functioned, but I couldn't bring myself to go along with it. I knew it was important to stay out of debt, to pay your bills, and to put something aside for retirement to live a comfortable life. As a minimalist, you don't have to be a fanatic, but you do have to keep yourself under control. By allowing yourself a few indulgences, you can appear normal to most people. My biggest indulgence was my marriage and family. It was really difficult for me to find a woman who I felt could tolerate my eccentricity and accept my uniqueness. Donna was from a similar background as I was, and was used to living a lifestyle. She didn't embrace it as I did, but she could tolerate it. The longer we were married, the more she seemed to normalize. What I mean is that she became less frugal and more average. I didn't like it, but I understood, especially after the girls were born. So that we would not appear to be weird, we bought a small practical house and started wearing better clothes. Donna was getting her hair done occasionally and became quite adept at grooming and makeup. We got 2 smartphones, last year's models. As the girls got older, Donna started to work. It was a minimum wage office job. Transportation was necessary, so we got her a small Honda Civic. Just like that, her wages just about paid for the car expenses, lunches, and her new wardrobe requirements. It was a wash, but I was happy with that. My name is William Smith. That is about as common a name as a man can get. I work as a parts puller for a local company that makes industrial compressors. The job is very repetitive, but I enjoy it. I am comfortable with both the position and the salary. At times I was offered promotions but turned them down. I did not tell Donna. My second indulgence was one that I kept for my wife. I felt it would be prudent to save for our retirement. Every chance I got, I would buy a 1-ounce Krugerrand. I had over 30 in my basement safe, and I was just starting on my final indulgence, a 1970 Dodge Challenger. My older brother John was killed working on an offshore oil platform. He left me the Challenger in his will. I was able to keep it up by myself, but the insurance premiums were a killer. Donna had done well working for Gilbert Industrial. She got regular raises and promotions. During the first year she talked about her job quite a bit, but then it started to taper off. Now, she rarely mentions anything at all about work or the people she works with. I knew something was not right, but could not put my finger on it. I was hoping to get a better idea of what was going on tonight. The company gathering was sort of like a retreat. It was a weekend event. I felt out of place even having to go to it. I had met all of her associates at one time or another and did not like any of them. We left the interstate at Holbrook, and I was finally able to let the Challenger loose. She responded just as I knew she would. Donna was not comfortable with the speed but held her tongue. Yes, I did exceed the speed limit. No, I didn't care. Bill, what's the hurry? We have plenty of time to get there. Why don't you slow down a bit? I'm not anxious to get there. You know damn well that I didn't want to go at all. I'm just using this time to clean out the engine. It needs to run every once in a while. Please try not to spoil the sport. This weekend is important for my career. Mrs. Simpson said it would be essential for you to be here as well. Marge Simpson was the wife of the company president, Glenn Robertson Simpson. It was old money in an old business. Why? What do you mean? Why is it important for me to be at this company event? I don't understand. Bill, it is necessary that you completely understand my new position in the company so that you can give me the support and backing that I need to do my job. I still don't understand. I'm sure Mrs. Simpson will be able to explain it to you when we get there. I have always supported you in the past. Why is it different now? My new position has a lot of unique responsibilities. March said that you should be exposed to them gradually so that you can fully understand them. It might be difficult for you to comprehend at first, but she assured me that you will come around. By the time we got to the lodge, my adrenaline was pumping. It didn't take a genius to understand what Donna was trying to say. It was going to be an interesting weekend. When we arrived, Donna walked into the lodge, leaving me to bring in the bags. I felt like I was being put in my place. Hey, nice wheels, Mr. Smith. What is it, a 70 or 71? It was Toby Wallace, the company's office boy. Hi, Toby. How are you doing? It's a 70. Toby introduced me to his wife, Bonnie. They were sitting out on the front porch, but it seemed as if everyone else was inside. I glanced around the parking area and guessed there were about 16 cars and one beat-up old truck at the end of the lot. We spent the next 5 minutes talking about the Challenger. What are you doing outside? Why aren't you and Bonnie inside with the people? It's not our type of crowd, Mr. Smith. We were hoping to leave early, but Mrs. Simpson insisted that we stay. We came up early today to help get things set up. The caterers all left about an hour ago. You're going to have to explain yourself. What's going on? Something's fishy, but I don't know exactly what. I don't want to get you upset, but I think it has something to do with your wife. Are you staying the full weekend? No, that's why I got my truck parked over by the side so I don't have to worry about getting out later. Things were getting more interesting by the minute. Well, I better get this stuff up to our room. Let me know before you leave, okay? Sure, Mr. Smith. Be careful. Don't do anything stupid. Luckily, it was only 2 small carry-on bags. As I entered the lodge, Mrs. Simpson caught my eye, smiled, and waved. Donna was waiting at the top of the stairs for me, and looked a bit aggravated that it took me so long to get in. It's about time, Bill. We have a few hours to get ready for the evening. Get cleaned up and put on something presentable. It's going to be a special night, and I want everything to be perfect. If it's all right with you, I'm going to take a stroll around the property for a bit to wind down. I'll be back in plenty of time. I noticed that I got a little smirk as I left the room. There was a slight chill which made my stroll a bit more pleasant. As I estimated, there were indeed 16 cars. They were mostly Mercedes, with a few Jaguars and Lexuses thrown in. The autos had out-of-state license plates. I was a bit confused trying to figure out how a woman in my wife's position would qualify to fit in with people of that caliber. She, or should I say we, were definitely out of our class. Something was not right. I noticed that Toby and Bonnie were loading their bags in the truck. I waved and walked over to chat a bit. I see that Mrs. Simpson decided to let you leave. Not really. We're sort of sneaking out. I don't feel comfortable here, Mr. Smith. Toby thought that maybe we should stay, but I talked him out of it. Bonnie was quick to add, could you do me a small favor and stick around until after the evening buffet? I'm a bit worried and would appreciate it. I have no idea what is going on, but I don't like it. Great minds think alike, isn't that right, Bonnie? She blushed a little at my meager attempt at humor. I think we can. There were crab and oysters on that serving line. I think I was going to like Toby. I did dress up as my wife insisted. Before we got to the buffet, our hostess took my arm and walked me to a quiet alcove. We are so pleased that you chose to come tonight to support Donna. This is a big step in her career, and it is important that she has your full support. The increase in salary and benefits is very substantial, and I am sure you will be happy with it. Excuse me for asking, but what is the position we are talking about? Donna has been a bit evasive when I questioned her about it. She usually just blows me off and tells me to wait until tonight. Nothing to worry about, William. I think she just wants to surprise you. You didn't answer my question. There is no official title. I guess you could just say that she is a personal assistant. I see. Well, the buffet looks good. Thanks for the explanation, Mrs. Simpson. March, please call me March. I spent the next hour or so sampling everything on the line. Donna was busy socializing with the important people, so Toby, Bonnie, and I got to spend a little more time together. We were just wrapping things up when Mrs. Simpson came over. William, Donna said that you brought your sporty little car with you tonight. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind making a little booze run for us. I smiled and nodded my head. There are 3 cases of wine at the ABC store in Holbrook. They're already paid for, so all you have to do is drive down and pick them up. There shouldn't be any problems, but if there are, just call me. Make sure you take your phone with you. I'd be glad to, March. I'll let Donna know and be on my way. As she walked away, I glanced over at Toby. Meet me outside in 5 minutes. Donna just smiled when I informed her that Mrs. Simpson had asked me to help. Her only comment was, "Don't forget your phone." Interesting that they both emphasized the same thing. Toby, I need a favor. He smiled as I tossed him the keys to the Challenger. You're serious? Drive it down to Holbrook and pick up the 3 cases of wine at the ABC store for Mrs. Simpson. I have a feeling that there might be a problem of some sort which will result in a delay, if you know what I mean. Toby smiled and nodded. Here's my phone. Just put it on the dash. If it rings, don't answer it. Whatever you do, don't turn it off. Any questions? How long do you want us to stay away? At least 2 hours. And top off the gas before you start back to the lodge. Enjoy. It was a bit chilly outside, but at least I had the foresight to put on a comfortable jacket. Now all I had to do was wait and watch. You could see most of the inside of the lodge from various places on the back porch. A thermos of coffee would have been nice, but I didn't plan that far ahead. I found a comfortable spot where I could see in and not be spotted. Donna appeared to be the center of attention. I still didn't know why, but I had a good idea. She was smiling, laughing, and mingling like a movie star. About 20 minutes later, Mrs. Simpson and Donna carefully looked at Donna's cell phone. I knew exactly what they were doing, checking my location. Thanks to Toby, I was now just about into Holbrook. They both smiled as Mrs. Simpson held up her hand and started to speak. Unfortunately, I could not make out what was being said, but everyone in the room seemed to be quietly approving what they heard. It almost seemed like low-level applause. Glenn Robertson Simpson walked over and took Donna's hand. They started up the main staircase and stopped. He raised their hands in the air, similar to a victory salute, and they both laughed. I could hear the cheering in the room as they ascended the stairs. As they reached the top, it was as if an unspoken signal had been given. The other guests began to stir, exchanging glances and whispers before slowly following the couple up the stairs. One by one they ascended, the air thick with a mix of eagerness and curiosity about what was to come. It was clear that this gathering was about to take a much more intimate turn, with everyone ready to join in on whatever was about to unfold. I still had about an hour and a half until the Challenger would be back, so I decided to take my time and enjoy myself. I always had my trusty buck pocket knife with me. It was a gift from my daughters about 10 years ago. It was good steel and held a sharp edge. I looked over my target area and figured that I would start with the cars closest to the lodge. I took my time, there was no rush. I carefully placed each valve stem in my jacket pocket. I didn't want to lose any, and I didn't want to litter. The Simpsons' driveway had 16 cars and 64 valve stems. I had almost an hour to go. What to do? 4 of the cars were locked, the rest were all open. So, I started at the closest one to the lodge again and removed the registration slips. Some were on the visors, but most of them were in the glove boxes. I had no idea what I was going to do with them, but thought that they might be nice to have in the future. I still had a 30-minute wait until Toby got back, so I decided that the valve stems on the spare tires had to go. Since I had access to the cars, I also had access to the trunks. 20 minutes later, I had 10 more valve stems. 2 of the cars had no spare tires. I knew it was petty and juvenile, but it gave me a bit of satisfaction. I am not a big fan of confrontation, so anything that I did or intended to do would be low and sneaky. I had no self-image problems, so I did not feel the need to come across as manly or heroic. I'll let all of the alpha males assume that role. 20 minutes later, the Challenger returned. Toby and Bonnie both seemed to have enjoyed the ride. He verified that there was indeed a delay at the ABC store as I expected, and it looked like it was pre-planned. There were no calls to my cell phone while they were gone. I turned it off and took out the SIM card. They were anxious to get home. I thanked Toby, wished him a safe trip, and strongly recommended that he find another job as soon as possible. I'm sure the cases of wine in the truck were pretty expensive. It was an easy problem to solve. I just put all 3 cases on the front porch of the lodge. There was no way I wanted them to accuse me of stealing anything. The trip home was relaxing. There wasn't too much at the house that was important to me, a few personal papers, my laptop, and my Kruger ants. Originally I was going to torch the house before I left, but that would have made Dawn a martyr. I didn't want to do that. I was there within 2 hours. I did not feel the necessity to leave a traditional note or wedding ring, let her figure it out. I was in no rush and had no destination in mind. I drove for 2 days. It was Monday morning when I called into work and gave notice. I requested that my final check be sent to my parents' house in Carlisle. They were not happy that I quit without giving notice. I apologized but did not offer an explanation. You can always count on a good breakfast at Waffle House. I picked up a local newspaper on the way in and found an interesting help I wanted to add for a local supermarket. They were looking for someone to stock shelves between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. after breakfast. I checked out the market. It was in an eclectic older section of Chattanooga. I spent the next hour driving around the neighborhood. There were a lot of older craftsman cottages and a few mobile homes in the immediate area. I could be happy in a small trailer but was hoping for a step up. Then I happened to stumble across a sign offering a garage apartment for rent. I hadn't inquired about the market job yet but didn't want to lose out on the garage apartment. The garage was not included, but when I offered $50 a month more in rent they agreed. It was a small 1-bedroom unit with only a half bath. It was sort of furnished, bed, dresser, table and chairs. The rent was right and the location was right, so I took it. I'd solve the bath problem later. At least I had a home for the Challenger. The supermarket situation was a bit different. They had plenty of applicants but not too many that they felt comfortable leaving alone at night in the store. I explained my situation to the owner and didn't mince any words. What clinched the job for me was when I offered to work under the table with no benefits and at $1 less than they wanted to pay. They never even asked for my social security number. I was happy and they were happy. It was a 10-minute walk from the apartment. I spent the rest of the day getting settled in my new home. The landlord gave me the access code to his internet, which I thought was nice. After a quick trip to the local Goodwill, I had some kitchen stuff and a small microwave. I also got some linens and cleaning supplies. That night, I canceled my life insurance policies. I decided not to mess with the banking or credit cards. What could she do? Both of our daughters were now married, which made my leaving a bit easier. No grandchildren yet, but I'm sure it wouldn't be too much longer. I called my daughter Laura and let her know that I was okay. I asked her to be available to help her mother if necessary. Laura was aware that I had left, but Donna had given her no other information. She promised to update her sister Linda. I deleted all the calls from my wife and turned my phone off again. I need a shower maybe tomorrow. Not everything was perfect. I had to find a secure place for my gold. I realized that what I had was not considered to be significant, but to me it was important. For some strange reason, I ended up getting a safety deposit box in Huntsville, Alabama. I was hoping that they couldn't connect it to me in Chattanooga. Of course, I was completely wrong, but I felt that I had at least tried. It was almost a 2-hour drive, but I didn't mind. The garage door at the apartment was fairly secure, but I installed a new hasp and a heavy-duty lock just to make sure. I had to protect my baby. It did not take long to get settled into my new job. For the first 3 nights they had a man work with me, and then they left me on my own. I didn't have to do anything in the produce or meat department. The biggest pain was in the frozen food section. I had everything under control after the first 2 weeks. For $20 down and $10 a month, I got a Planet Fitness membership which solved my shower problem. The big downside was that I had to give them a credit card number. I had to make another trip to Huntsville to get a credit card at my new bank. I was beginning to see how hard it was to get completely off the grid. Some modifications were going to be necessary. I had no idea how hard Donna would try to look for me or if she would try at all. To hell with it, I'll deal with that problem when it comes. In no time I had the routine down pat. I started work at 10 p.m. and finished at 6 a.m. It was a 20-minute jog or a 30-minute walk to Planet Fitness. I had originally joined primarily just for the shower facilities but gradually started using the other gym equipment. By the end of the first month, I was getting almost 2 hours of gym exercise every day. I felt better and I was also losing a little weight. I never considered myself to be heavy, but I was a bit flabby. It felt good to get back into a routine. I was comfortable with my new job and enjoyed it. It was repetitive, but it was also different. Hard to explain, but I'm sure you can figure out what I mean. I did my job and they left me alone. The gym was also a good selection. In no time at all, I had decided which exercises I liked to do and which ones to avoid. I discovered that I got no pleasure or enjoyment from working with heavy weights. Since I was running to my workout every day, the treadmills held no interest for me. I started each day with the Planet Fitness circuit workout, which took about 30 minutes. I then spent 20 minutes on the C2 rowing machine, 20 minutes on the stair stepper, and finished up with 20 minutes on an upright bike. I never got a TV, but I did get a used desktop computer with a nice size monitor. My daily entertainment consisted mostly of YouTube videos. I didn't cook much but found that my eating habits evolved a bit. Although it was not my intention, I found myself drifting toward a keto-type diet. Combining that with my odd working hours, I realized that I was also doing a bit of fasting. After 3 months, I was feeling better and losing weight. It was time to call my daughters again. This time I called Linda. "Hi Linda, it's your dad." "Well, it's about time. We were all concerned about you. Are you okay?" "Yes, I am great. Don't worry about me. I have always been able to take care of myself. I am calling just to make sure that your mother is doing okay." "Mom is doing great. It seems like she got a raise at work and loves her job. She is, however, extremely pissed at you. She said that you deserted her at her promotion celebration, and then left home like a hurt little boy. Those are the words she used. She said you were jealous of her success. Well, I am sorry, but I can't add anything to that. Until she is ready to tell you the truth, that is all I have. She said that things are a bit tight without your income, but with her raise she can handle it. Well, I am happy for her. Did she tell you anything about her new job? Just that she is making more money and gets to travel a lot." I did not respond. After a slight pause, Linda started up again. "Will you be coming home for Christmas?" "I don't think so. I'll try and send something for you and Laura. We don't need or want anything. Dad, we would rather have you here." "Sorry about that. I have to go now. Take care." I felt a little down in the dumps. I got the feeling that my daughters did not understand the situation, and felt that I was the reason for all of the problems. I wasn't happy about that, but did not feel obligated to explain myself. It was apparent that there was no remorse on my wife's side. I found myself getting a little bitter from what my daughter said. Donna was doing quite well without me. I still didn't understand why she wanted me at home. I finished off my case of Black and Tan and spent the weekend despondent. My beer consumption had been increasing as the weeks went by. I found things improving nicely. I was doing well at work and got a raise that I wasn't expecting. They gave me free rein as far as my duties were concerned, and in a very short time, I had streamlined and improved the stock replenishment system. I provided a weekly report that they used to set inventory levels and establish reordering intervals. The store's overall computer system was already doing this, but they seemed to appreciate the manual input. My living arrangements were ideal for my situation and well within my budget. My weight was down and I was building some muscle. In the right lighting I could see a six-pack. I stopped shaving and now had a full head of hair just long enough to make a small ponytail. My whole image seemed to have changed and I seemed a bit fearsome. My gym workouts were getting easier and a bit longer. An unexpected side effect was that I was also making a few friends at the gym. They were not really friends but more like acquaintances. I was very careful around the female gym goers because I did not want any impropriety. With the guys, it didn't matter. In fact, we were poking fun at each other regularly. There was, however, one very unusual connection that cropped up. Her name was Harry, or at least that was what everybody called her. She was not very friendly and seldom talked to anyone. I turned out to be the exception. She was there every morning and worked steadily for at least 2 hours. It was an intense workout, not a frilly yoga-type routine. I guessed that she was in her mid-40s, hard-looking and always in sweatpants and a sweatshirt. All the other females were showing off their bodies with tight latex and skimpy outfits, not Harry. I took a good bit of razzying because I was the only male in the whole gym that she talked to or even looked at. I didn't encourage her, but I also didn't turn her away. To be honest, I was a bit flattered. Several months passed and I had not contacted either of my daughters or my wife. I just could not force myself to do it. I made several trips to Huntsville to add to my Kruger collection. Then things started to change. "William, could I speak with you for a moment?" This was not a usual conversation starter with Harry. She called me William when all the guys used Bill. Come to think of it, she had never really referred to me by my name before. "Sure, no problem. Is there something that I can help you with?" As a matter of fact, there is. We both took a bench and got comfortable. "I have a company affair that I have to attend Friday evening and I need an escort. I will take care of all expenses and I only need you to go with me. I noticed that you don't drive, so I will also provide transportation if necessary. I can reimburse you." I hesitated and she quickly picked up on it. "I'm sorry, did I do or say something wrong?" "No, not at all. It's just that I have a few skeletons in the closet, so to speak. If you can work around them, I will be happy to help you out." "Okay, what are the problems?" "First of all, I am married." "Oh crap, you never mentioned a wife. I guess that ruins the whole deal." "No, not at all. I just wanted to let you know up front. I haven't seen or talked to my wife in over 9 months. I don't even know if I'm still married." "Have you filed for divorce or separation?" "No." "Next, I do not have anything appropriate to wear, no suit jacket, dress shirts or regular shoes. I have no use for any of that stuff, so I don't have it." "No problem. I can take care of that. This is why I'm asking a week ahead. I do work nights, but I think I can get the evening off with no problem."